Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Stumper Travel. Follow Diana, Anya, Andy, and myself as we go through the Grand Tetons, Yellowstone, and Jackson Hole. If you haven't traveled in a while, make sure that if you have any check-in bags to be there 3 hours early. We were there 2 hours early and we still missed it. Luckily, our friends only had carry-on and they were willing to come back to pick us up once we arrived. Once we arrived, we were so anxious we didn't even check out the Airbnb. We got right to the sites. With us being from the East Coast, this was a vast change in scenery, and we couldn't help but stop many times along the way. After a short while on the road, we finally got to our first destination, Yellowstone National Park. Yellowstone is huge and there's a lot to do, so today, since we only had half a day, we decided to just check out the geysers and hot springs. If anyone mentions geysers, there's one that comes to mind. Old Faithful. It was pretty amazing, and it was almost as if someone flipped a switch right on time. And in case you were wondering, they do have a cafeteria and restrooms in the area, which also contain wildlife. And you're guaranteed to see a bison. Finally, after an amazing day, we made it to the rental home. With not knowing much about the area, we decided to take some of the advice from our cabin and check out a little bit more along Yellowstone. We found a place called Meadows National Park, and we started with the basin. We finally found what we were looking for, a trail leading to Fairy Falls. This trail is a full circle around the park ending in a waterfall. We got the chance to see a lot of cool little animals and some amazing views. After this amazing spot, we decided to look for another one in the immediate area, and were stunned to find Yellowstone's very own Grand Canyon. There were two parts to this trail, an upper and a lower, and since we were already kind of tired, we decided to start with the lower part. Even though there were quite a few people around, we were still able to find glimpses of ourselves being alone. After a short little excursion, we decided to check out the top. This was our last night in our first cabin. With that in mind, we started to look for things on the way to our next one, and we weren't let down. In my opinion, horseback riding is a must if you're in this area. If you're like us and you want to see everything, you're going to be doing quite a bit of driving. But there's so much to see, you're not even going to realize it. Which brings us to Mammoth Hotsprings. This is a lot like the geyser destination, except it's mostly these landscapes and stones. We decided to make a couple more stops before nightfall. And what's a trip without a few setbacks? We ended up driving 4 hours in the wrong direction to our new place, but we were fortunate enough to see Yellowstone Lake. Once we finally made it, we just went to sleep. Waking up to the new place definitely gave us the western feel we were looking for. Decided to start this morning with a little vacation breakfast before heading off into Death Canyon Trail. The water was really cold, but still worth it. This trail ended up being pretty long and there was a lot to see, so we ended up turning around for nightfall. Normally on your last day, you take it a bit easy and get prepared for the trip, but we're kind of crazy, so we're on another hike. This is Jackson Hole. It's a ski resort, and on the off season they'll let you use the gondolas to head up to some trails. We were determined to see the top of this thing, and with it being a ski resort, we anticipated it being a pretty easy hike, and we were wrong. But despite the challenges, we still got to see a lot of cool wildlife along the way as well. And though this ended up being one of the most grueling hikes we had done since we'd been here, it also ended up being one of the most rewarding. With the over 10,000 feet elevation. Even with us being somewhat experienced hikers, we were relieved to find an easier way down. We were even able to see our moose friend again. With the reality setting in that we had to leave, our anticipation to see bears was finally rewarded, even if it was a small glimpse. We were driving, so I was unable to get any good photos. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and if you would like to see more like this one, go ahead and subscribe and get that notification signal.